Welcome to the Female Finance Collective, where we encourage women to have open and honest conversations about all things money. In today's episode, we're going to be speaking about ways to save on food. This has been a mega topic. Food inflation has been increasing over the last several years. And food for most families is one of their big three expenses that they have on a monthly basis. So we're hoping to share some of our insights on ways that you can save on food and how you can better shop for food. So thanks for joining us here today.
Yeah, you know what else about food is that quote, we are what we eat. It's so important to our health and to our well-being and to, all of that too. So I love that we're talking about food today. So one of the things is actually mostly my husband does. I'm very lucky he's the cook in the house. Is he plans out the meals for the next week before he goes shopping on the weekend. So we have a whiteboard in our kitchen and it has like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right? The days of the week. And then it has like the shopping list at the couple of stores we go to. And so he asked the family on Sundays, what do you want to eat this week? And whatever, we brainstorm our meals for the week. And then we look at what we have in the fridge. And then we make our shopping list from there. And so that helps us save a lot of money because we've done that pre-planning. We can intentionally plan things that might need some of the same ingredients. For example, we just had to buy a big, huge cabbage head the other day for a spring roll we were making. And we were like, okay, we got to figure out what else we can make this week with that cabbage. And my mother-in-law was like, I think you could freeze it. It's like, well, we probably could, right? That is an option, but that meal planning and prepping can really help you save money. It also gives you that goal when you're at the grocery store of what you're buying to hopefully lessen the temptation to buy other things and just throw together, well, maybe we should do that and we'll do that and that, right? And so that's one of our biggest things that we do that I think saves us a lot of money with our groceries.
For sure. Meal planning is always my number one tip when I share. I've meal planned for honestly as many years as I can remember. I also do it about a week ahead. I plan in if I know we're going out to eat, I plan that in there so I don't accidentally overbuy food. And then I really do, kind of like you were saying, I try to really think about what I already have on hand. So some weeks I'm like a weirdo and I'm like, oh, how cheap can I get the groceries this week? So I was like, okay, I already have polenta in the freezer. I have some frozen sausage and some ground beef, and there's this grocery store near us that always has a sale. If you buy something, then you get something else free. So they always are giving sauce away for free, like these jars of delicious, really good sauce. So I every time the sauce is free, I buy whatever it is I needed to get the sauce for free. So I always have sauce in the pantry. So it's like we could have like meatballs and polenta and sauce. Oh, I didn't have to buy one thing because I already have all those things. I just needed like the vegetables to go with the meal. So I'm also sometimes really try to think about what's already in the pantry. And I think that keeping your pantry and fridge organized is a huge tip as well, because it's easier to see what you already have and then utilize the things that you have. I can sometimes forget to check the pantry and then I double buy. So like one day I opened it and I had 3 things of brown sugar, and I don't even bake sweet things that often. So I probably should have checked before I went because that was a big waste of money. I didn't need that. So I think checking your pantry before you go, checking your fridge, like you said, Sybil, what sauces do I already have that I could utilize? What's already in the pantry that I could take advantage of? And then don't waste, right? Not wasting the food you buy is a huge one. The other thing I'll say about meal planning is I strategize to create leftovers because I find it's cheaper to make more of the same meal and then box it up. I call them, I don't know why I call them this. I call them to-go containers. We have glass containers with lids. I'm like, put it in a to-go container. I'm not taking anywhere but my fridge in my own house. But so then I will pack up like at least 2 lunches in a to-go container in the fridge. So now for lunch the next day or 2 days later, we've already got that ready. So I think it's cheaper if you can create more servings of the same meal and kind of stretch it out for a couple of days.
I have two growing boys, and I feel like we spend $1 bazillion on food. It is something like we're frequently at the grocery store, and I'm always trying to find that fine balance between how often I shop, that still, reduces waste and where food gets eaten. It gets tricky because sometimes they'll love a specific food, it's their favorite, and then they don't love it anymore. So I always have to be kind of mindful of what foods will actually get eaten. And with a bigger family, a lot of things get lost in the fridge. So definitely having a system for how you label your leftovers, thinking ahead to what you have. We'll do nights where we just kind of eat leftovers. So we have bits and pieces of different meals. I actually love eating that way because I like having all the different flavors and instead of being overwhelmed by a big meal. So that's kind of the easiest way to clean up some of the leftovers that are around. In terms of ways to save at the grocery store, one of the big ones is I try not to buy household products or like cleaners or anything like that at our main grocery store because I find the prices are higher. So I get those things elsewhere. I also shop what's on sale. So whatever, specifically meat, that tends to be the most expensive item that we purchase. It is buying whatever is on sale that week and planning meals around that. With my kids, when we go anywhere, I bring a water bottle and I bring a snack because that avoids going through a drive-through and avoids that impulse spending that comes with having kids that love having takeout. So those are kind of the biggest tips that we have. Actually, I have one more. In our area, there are some fresh fruits and vegetables depending on the season. So sometimes I will pop into farmers markets or local farms to grab whatever is in season because that price per pound is way lower and the food is just so delicious because it's come from a local source.
Those are some really great tips, Marilee. I was just thinking about coupons too. I've always been a couponer. I know some people love them, some people hate them. I started a coupon blog long ago. But what I realized recently about coupons is like we shop at one grocery store all the time and the coupons are changing. What I've noticed is that they actually give you more coupons on things you already buy, which I love. I'm like, they know I buy these things. And so they're giving us more coupons and there's digital and there's clipping and the whole thing, right? But they can save you quite a bit of money. And if you have the room to stock up in your refrigerator or in your pantry, it can save you money as well. But you also have to be aware, like I feel like sometimes we are stocking up, we're buying bulk because like our gluten-free granola bars were just on sale and big sale, like $1 a bar instead of $2 a bar, right? So we stock up, but then I wonder sometimes if we eat more of them more frequently because we have this stockpile. So it's always, it's this game you kind of have to play. And maybe now thinking out loud, we need to just put the stockpile like in the garage or somewhere else versus our pantry. So it's not like, oh, we have so many bars, I'll have one, even though it's probably not the best time to be having a protein bar, for example. I should have a banana instead or something. But I do like couponing and it has been fun to see how couponing has evolved over the years.
I love coupons too. I think there's like tricks to couponing, right? So I do not seek out coupons, but if they present themselves to me, then I will look at them because I don't know that this is also a time thing, right? If I was desperate for every cent, please believe I would be finding the coupons for the week and I would be scouring them and I would be meal planning based on the coupons. So that is a tool. If you are out there listening and you're like, I am literally trying to save every single penny, then I would look at what's on sale that week at the grocery store and I would use that to create my meal plan so that I was taking advantage of every savings opportunity. But I that is harder for me, and it takes more time. And then I feel like I don't know if that was worth my time. Have there been times in my life when it was absolutely worth the extra half an hour or an hour to meal plan? For sure. So that's a really good way to do it. Now I'd really just watch for the coupons that appear to me like $5 off. The grocery store I like to go to recently just handed me one that was like $15 off your next order of $75 or more. I was like, perfect. Like, tucked it away for next time. I find if you shop at the same places over and over, then you tend to either become more familiar with the deals that they have. But also I think they tend to give you, I think you were kind of saying this, Sybil, a little bit, like they kind of target you with the coupons, right? You start to get coupons for the things that you purchase. And so I really like that. I've shared a million times, like on my social media, about that Target deal that I'm obsessed with. They have multiple, but they don't all work for me. But if I buy like toilet paper, paper towels, and tissues, Kleenexes, if you spend a certain amount on them, they give you a $15 gift card. So every time we start to get low on those things, I just watch for that deal to come up, and then I pocket that at 15 bucks that I would have, I needed those products anyway. So I think that when you shop consistently at the same places, you tend to get the savings. I know there are people who will drive to multiple grocery stores to try to get the best deals. And at some point, I feel like the gas money you're spending to get to all the stops is kind of outweighing the few cents you might be saving on products. So for me, I tend to stick with like the same couple of places. I go to Target all the time. So if I know a product is cheaper there than the regular grocery store, I'll buy it there for sure. But I try not to make extra stops along the way just to save like 5 cents on something. I don't know if that adds up. But sometimes things are significantly cheaper at different stores. So I try really hard to just kind of pay attention to how much things are so that I know the best place to buy them. Kind of merely, you were saying that for like cleaning products, you noticed they're not the most affordable at your grocery store, so you avoid them there. I try to kind of do that same thing. Just pay attention to how much things cost. That's a huge way to save if you start paying attention, right? Instead of just checking it all in your cart, but looking at the prices.
Yeah, Jen, I tend to do the same. I tend to be loyal to a few grocery stores, and I'm in Canada, and a lot of grocery stores have their own loyalty program of some sort. And that, it takes a little bit of extra time to enroll and to show your card each time. But I do find that the savings are meaningful just to do that. And there will be targeted offers. So you will see that you'll get extra points on certain purchases. So that would be a decision where I might stock up on something if there are extra points that particular week. But it is a fine balance too between buying things. I find sometimes my ideal self wants certain food items that I don't actually enjoy eating. And I have to sometimes do a check with myself just to make sure that it's really, an item that I'm going to use and use in an appropriate period of time. And the other bigger piece is it definitely is cheaper to prepare meals at home compared to going out to a restaurant. It's better health-wise, it's better for your finances. So it's just being mindful to look at your calendar for the week ahead and see some of the more stressful days where you might not have time to cook a meal. And so instead of ordering Uber Eats or anything like that, that might be a leftover day where you plan to have something available if you know that you're working a bit later or your kids have sports or whatever that looks like. So definitely planning ahead with food is how you can get those savings.
Yeah, that's such a good point. It's summer right now, so the kids don't have such busy schedules, but during the school year, for sure, us too, like we have something busy, we'll intentionally plan around what's the best meal for that night and then figure out some of the other ones. Also, like when you're driving to events or to, activities and stuff, like, is it near kind of a specialty store? Because like for us, Trader Joe's is here and they have a lot of great gluten-free things at very affordable prices. And so, but it's not super close to where we are. It's not super far either, but we'll plan, like if I'm going to be at the nutritionist that's near Trader Joe's, then we'll keep our list up on our whiteboard for Trader Joe's specifically. There's some items we get there versus somewhere else. And then we'll put those two things together of like, okay, I'm going to be at the nutritionist and Trader Joe's is right next door. So we'll pick up those specialty items. I know in like Arizona where my in-laws and parents spend their winters, there's like a cooperative grocery store and it's cash only and it's in big bins, bulk, you take exactly how much flour you want, but those kinds of like specialty stores can really save you a lot of money as well if you have something like that in your area too.
Bulk is the ticket. Now there's two kinds of bulk buying. There's going to Costco or Sam's Club and buying like 700 rolls of paper towels or 8 jars of mayonnaise or whatever. And some of that is great. If you know you're going to use it, it's an item you already use. I think it's totally fine to stock up on that. But again, keep your pantry like a little bit organized so you know what you have and you don't go buy the 8 jars of mayonnaise again the second time you go, right? Bulk buying can really save you money if you take advantage of it and actually use those items. So that's something that we bulk buy certain things. And if they don't have them at Costco, like, Costco doesn't always have exactly the same things, then I just skip it. I'm like, I'm not going to find like some random replacement. I just don't get it that time. And we've been able to save some money that way and also stretch out my grocery shops a little bit because I've got stuff stocked up in my pantry so I can pull from there and I don't have to grocery shop as often or get as much or spend as much at the store. The other kind of bulk purchases, Sybil, like you're talking about with if they have bins, is great. And so even our regular grocery store they have bulk spices. And I cannot tell you how much money you save if you just buy the spices in bulk. So they have these little scoops and you use them. Everybody gets a fresh scoop, so it's clean. And if you're making like a dish that requires a certain spice or something, and you don't want to buy like sometimes the jars are like $8 and I'm like, well, I'm never going to use this whole thing, but I can just get like a few teaspoons of it for like 14 cents in the baggie from the bulk section. And one day I checked because I needed spices for something and I was out of some things. And I saved probably like $20 in spices because I didn't buy the jars. I just bought the little scoops in the bulk and I saved a ton of money. So if you have a store near you that offers bulk, or like you're saying, something you can go to on occasion to get some things like that you don't need tons of or a whole jar of, it is a really nice way to save some money. And then you don't have those spices in your drawer just wasting away that you're never going to use. The one other thing that I really think is important, and I know not everyone cooks. I love to cook. I love to bake and all the things. But cooking things from scratch is less expensive than making prepared food. So if you were going to, I know like if your kiddos love dinosaur shaped chicken nuggets, like that's a tricky thing to make at home, right? But if you home make little fried pieces of chicken, that is cheaper than buying the bags of chicken fingers. Anything you buy that somebody has already prepared for you, whether it's cut up fruit or cut up veggies, anything that somebody else has already done the work for you, you're going to pay more money for that. So if you want to save, don't buy the whole watermelon and cut it yourself. You will save a ton of money. Buy the whole pineapple and cut it yourself. Buy the veggies and cut them. And then, try to avoid those pre-made things because it costs a lot of money because you're paying somebody else to do that work for you.
Well, thank you so much for listening. Please, please, please like this episode and follow our podcast. Help us grow. You can find us on Instagram, on YouTube at the Female Finance Collective. And as always, we'd love to hear from you. So send us your questions, your topic ideas. Have a conversation with us. We're here and we look forward to chatting with you next week.